Hi, this is Rene again. Welcome to a second video which is the first part of a series of the self-development side of the Triple Triad model. Self-development, how do you develop a success personality? And let me tell you, there is no simple answer to that question. Although the self-help industry often will try to make you believe that, just go do yoga, eat healthy, or they would say, always take responsibility for everything that happens to you in life. Probably all wonderful answers, but as you know, it isn't that simple. You know probably people that have a wonderful, successful marriage, yet they struggle to make ends meet. And then you know the businessman that has a successful business empire, but leaves behind a string of failed relationships. So the reason for that is that in reality there are 8 different dimensions of thinking. And on top of that there is the ease of how you change your thinking. So to develop a success personality, we have to take a look and dive into those 8 dimensions of your character.
Imagine the trail left behind by a boat. They call that a wake. And so, what your character is, your personality, is it's what will determine what you will leave behind in life. For some people, the wake is a real clear, straight line, like in this picture. For others, it's crooked. For others, it's barely visible. Those people didn't make a real impression on life. And so, to discuss your character, you have to take 8 different angles. The first thing you really need to be successful is that people need to like you and trust you, and your ability to connect. You can imagine that if people don't trust you, it's real hard to become a successful person. The second thing is, what's your orientation towards truth? How do you deal with truth? Do you hide from it? Do you embrace it? And people are really good in ignoring truths we don't want to see. That's the best explanation why otherwise very intelligent people can think so different in matters like political elections. Um, to get results and finish well is the other piece that's important. You have to be able to finish things that you started and know when to let go. To embrace the negative is the 4th dimension. Can you deal with problems, or do they totally derail you? And how do you deal with problems? Can you do it in a positive way? And that's the 4th dimension. The 5th dimension of the character is, how do you look at growth? Do you always want to grow, get bigger, excel, defeat your own personal bests? Those people tend to be more successful than those people that just dislike any change. The 6th dimension is, how much do you understand that the world around you is bigger than you, that you are a part of a bigger whole. People that go for a big cause, be it good or evil, typically can be way more successful. Think Mother Teresa, think Adolf Hitler. They understood that they were part of something far bigger than themselves. The 7th dimension is your relationship with your own health and fitness. If you don't treat yourself well, if you eat like a junk, you will look like a junk, and ultimately people will treat you like a junk. The 8th dimension is, how much do you realize that you need to control your environment instead of being a victim and just seeing the world around you as something there is no way you can influence. Those are the 8 dimensions of character. We're going to do special videos on each of them of about 3 to 4 minutes each.
So once we have measured the levels you can score on those 8 dimensions of character, they actually have sub-dimensions within each level, but let's keep it simple. Within each dimension, you would get graphs like this. You see the 8 dimensions here on the screen and a tallied up score. And we would call that deserve levels. A deserve level is like an expectation level. What do you expect out of life? Self-sabotage happens when your deserve level isn't high enough, so to speak. We'll get to that later. So there are 2 ways that successful character is limited, and that is, for instance, low deserve levels. You recognize it when people are stuck in certain patterns in life. The other way is when you have what we call a character integrity issue. That is when some of these bars are way higher than others. You recognize that when you see a pattern of sometimes even epic fails after successes. Because the high reserve levels in one dimension made them successful, but then the real low one on the other side destroyed it. I'll give an example for that. I once spoke to a wonderful couple, and they had a business, or a whole string of businesses, and they had a real high score, almost like actually this might be their graph. And what you see is a high score on the relation with the transcendence, a high score on connect and trust. They were wonderful people, and they believed that they needed to help other people as much as they could, even to the point that they would suffer themselves. And they had a real low score on dealing with the truth, especially the truth that other people could abuse them. They believed it was a Christian duty to anyway always do the right thing, meaning you would even make your own family suffer because you were trying to help other people. And that turns out was one of the reasons why their businesses failed. They were constantly giving everything away. And so that is something what we call a character integrity issue.
Let's bring all of this to a conclusion. In order to gain success habits and do the things that will make you wealthy, happy, whatever it is you're after, it always starts with awareness, right? If I stand on the scales and I see the horrifying message how many pounds I am now, well, then I might finally take action. But sometimes I don't want to be aware. It's a form of self-sabotage, or sometimes I just didn't know until, let's say, the doctor or a colleague tells you, hey, this and this is wrong with you, or you could improve here. So that's the awareness part. Very important. All change starts with that. After that, you get persistent actions. You have to do something, stick to it. When you start a diet, don't give up until your habits have changed. Maybe after a while, your habit is that you don't want sugar in your coffee. If you take this picture, this beautiful picture of this iceberg, then our behavior can be displayed like this. What others see in us, our actions, they see that's the tip of the iceberg. Yet it's driven by everything below the iceberg. Our skills, of course, determine what type of behavior we can show. What we hold to be true, which is our beliefs, of course, reflect our behavior. Our values, what we hold to be important, of course, reflect our behavior. And then how we are wired, certain types of intelligence, whatever, that's our DNA, and of course it affects our behavior. Now let's bring all this stuff about the 8 dimensions of character, and this is really the ease of change, it goes top down. Let's bring it all in one graph, in one matrix. This is the matrix of the Triple Triad model for self-development. So at the bottom here we have the 8 dimensions of character, and then we have the things we can relatively easily influence. So you would have a whole matrix, and remember what we're trying to do is change our deserve levels. But what we did in the Triple Triad model is we mapped 120 best practices that you can do to change yourself, ranging from skills that make sure that you finish things that you started, like for instance the daily goal setting strategy, all the way to concepts to help you change your beliefs and your values.
So that was a overview of the Triple Triad model for developing yourself, the model for B. Next time we're going into the dimensions, and there should be about 3 to 4 minute videos on one dimension each.